Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about the Skeptics Offering. What does a skeptic offer you? Are you skeptical? How's that working for you? What are you getting out of it? What fruit does it offer? Is it delicious? Is it a fruit you want to chew on? Does it offer nectar? I have, for a large chunk of my life, I have asked this question of many people, and I ask it to you today, and I welcome your comments. Please, by all means, educate me. I'm always happy to learn. I love to grow. That's Sagittarius way, trying to grow. What does a skeptic offer? Let's consider this. Now, there's a distinction I want to elucidate before we begin, and it's the distinction between a skeptic and a critical thinker. For those of you that consider yourselves and experience yourselves as critical thinkers, brava, congratulations. We need more of that down here. I feel like there are several arts that are getting lost, like the art of communication, certainly the art of cursive writing, the art of math. It's just becoming more, here, use all the paper to do one math problem. It's like, what are we doing? Why did we screw up math? But, but there's this quality with skepticism. It's like, I think some people can associate that as critical thinking, and those are two distinct things. I do think we need more critical thinking, more critical thinkers. And I think critical thinking is a vital component of having greater intimacy with one's own philosophy. So whatever you've chosen to believe this thing called life is, I think there's greater profundity, greater potency, and being a critical thinker and considering the philosophies you've chosen, considering the belief matrix you've chosen, the thoughts that you continue to think and feel about that then become your belief matrix and the foundational way you operate down here at Earth School, I think we should question that. I think we should question ourselves. I think we should question others. I think we should question what we're handed. One simple example of why that's foundationally true to me is think about how many two-leggeds believe they're worthless, unlovable. Like, what a ridiculous thought. Like, never looked at a bird, never looked at a freaking four-legged, cute little poofy four-legged. I've never looked at a fox or a bear or the sky or a flower and thought, you're just so hard to love. You're just so unlovable. But two-leggeds love. I mean, we're just chewing on that fruit. Another please. I just love hating myself. So it's like such a ridiculous thought, like to be unworthy or not valuable or not precious, to share your beautiful isness, your beautiful beingness, your temple of a two-legged with the world. But yet that teaching is offered in a lot of different ways down here. It keeps getting handed down because we keep picking it up. So it's good to be a questioner. Sometimes we're handed false thoughts, false belief matrices that maybe don't serve you long-term or lifelong. And so it's really good to question what you're going to choose to walk in and be like, this is my philosophy on myself. This is my philosophy on the world. Now, I don't think I have the perfect philosophy, and I always say, I'm not here to sell you mine, I'm not here to hand you mine. I can offer you the way I've come to look at the world, and that's one of the things I'm sharing here. But I would love to hear from any of you. I've never found a virtue in being a skeptic. So there can be virtue in being a critical thinker about, okay, so Scientology wants me to give my money, they want me to mortgage my house, they want me to not talk to any non-Scientologist. So this faith tradition constantly asks for money from me. It asks for disconnection from the ones I love. It asks for, so I think it's valuable in any philosophy, whatever you choose, and to each their own. Like, if Scientology works for you, do it. But like, if a philosophy is like disconnect from all internet sources, disconnect from your family, keep giving us money, well, get a loan, get another credit card, keep giving us money. It's good to be a critical thinker. It's good. Being a critical thinker can keep you from joining a cult. Like, maybe don't drink the Kool-Aid. Maybe suicide isn't the answer today. So critical thinking is a beautiful medicine because that's where you are questioning what is going to be your foundation and what is going to be the matrix that you walk for a lifetime. good medicine. Skepticism, to me, is the other side of the coin called belief. Belief, faith, and then over here we have skepticism. Well, I'm not sure. I have yet to meet a skeptic that is skeptical about something that they have deeply studied. I've met lots of skeptics that don't believe in stuff that they haven't studied at all. If you're skeptical about God, if you're skeptical about spirit, if you're skeptical about the concept of a soul, have you studied Joan of Arc? Have you studied near-death experiences? Have you studied reincarnation? Have you studied every faith tradition? Have you looked at the Baha'i faith? What about Zoroastrianism? Maybe, Ifa? I mean, like, have you looked at everything? Are you sure you know the topic before you choose, like, I don't think there's a God. I think it's fair to be a critical thinker and be like, why would God have genitals and be a man? Why would God stand at the top of a staircase and invite us into gates? I think that's important. I think a lot of people today don't choose a philosophy or a belief matrix or identify atheistic or agnostic because they were handed a faith tradition and they were a critical thinker, and they just kind of decided this isn't true to me. And they just decided, okay, subject closed, which is fair. I mean, way to be an intelligent human and question things. I think that's a sign of intelligence, is to be a questioner. And you should know that what you believe is true for you, not just because it's been handed over to you. Is it true for you? Is your politicking, is your philosophy, is your way you walk in the world, is it true for you? Is it a truth? Is it how you want to walk? Great. So there can be skepticism around concepts like aliens. I've never seen an alien. Show me the proof. Proof is in the pudding. Show me the proof. And it's like, well, you haven't experienced an alien, but there are tons of recorded throughout the annals of time recordings from cosmonauts, astronauts, military pilots, two-legged citizens, entire villages around unidentified flying objects and around alien abduction. And certainly, like couples in the 50s where you have a racially mixed couple that definitely isn't looking to get in the public limelight during such an ignorant time, that had an abduction, but still presents their story because it was so impactful. So have you studied the topic? Are you sure? Are you just being skeptical because you personally haven't had an experience? And if you personally haven't had an experience with aliens, with God, with astrology, with whatever you're being a skeptic about, my question to the skeptic is always this: have you studied it? Have you studied the topic? I mean, it's fine to be whatever. I love choice. I love freedom. I love diversity. And I also love growth and evolution. And I very much love evolution and the concept of me evolving. And I have found, as a Sagittarius, friggin' Gemini rising, constant questioner, I have found there is value and there is virtue and really looking at and evaluating, is this true before I drop this offering, before I throw this baby out with this bathwater, before I gobble up these pearls of wisdom thinking I've just been fed lunch, and before I just make them pass on through and lose the nugget that's been offered here of wisdom. Let me slow down. Let me be with it. Astrology is a relatively neutral topic. I think that most people don't have a charge. They either believe or don't. But a lot of people that don't believe, the choice that they've made doesn't come from 10 years, 20 years of study with astrology, because anyone that does that, I mean, I challenge anyone. Study astrology for 10 years and come back to me and tell me you don't believe it. Study it deeply. Practice it. Do natal birth charts. Come back to me and tell me it's a false system. Please. Please. I love scientific experimentation. Please, please, please. Hundreds do it. Please. By all means. But, I mean, astrology, most have read a horoscope and been like, well, it says here, blah, blah, blah. That applies to everybody. And you can't take 12 things like a horoscope based on the sun sign of a person, apply it to 7.9 billion people, and have that be an intimate communication. That's mathematics. So I understand the intelligence of being like, these horoscopes aren't accurate. Yeah, a horoscope is based on sun signs. My sun sign is Sagittarius. I'm Scorpio cusp, Scorpio Mercury, Scorpio Dharma. Scorpio is very different from Sagittarius. And although I definitely have that playful, optimistic, eternal, positive Sag in me, I've got that Scorpio, deep research, deep questioning, darkness, holding the hand of death, sexually liberated, unique, distinct quality of Scorpioness in me. So, there is a reason that astrology, my mom would always say a lie will always die and the truth will always be known. And she would let me know that so that I could know in my heart, I can choose to have integrity. I can choose to walk with truth. And I can just know and trust that that's okay. The light of truth will always be illuminated on my path. But if I choose to walk with lies, don't worry, light gonna catch your shadow. So it'll catch up to you. Just choose wisely. And I'm really grateful to that teaching. Because of that teaching, I've always looked to the teachings that have lasted the longest, that remain. We still, Nostradamus, our forefathers, like astrology has been around for a hot minute. And after 32 years of studying Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, asteroids, Chiron, houses, and what is there and what is not there in your chart, after 32 years of studying it, I can't set it down. And to this day, you have almost as much water in your physical body as Earth has. That's an interesting tie. You are made out of stardust. That's an interesting tie. The moon affects the tides or water of the ocean. Also, there's an increase in hospital visits and police interaction when we have a full moon. So it affects clearly the water in our bodies too. That's an interesting tie to planets. So I understand that it's easy to say, I don't see how we're tied to the planets or why planets affect us. But then we can also become a critical thinker and investigate rather than just choosing skepticism and going, I don't see how it ties. Well, let's look. Let's look. How are our bodies tied to the planets? We are literally made out of stardust. I don't see how we can get more planetary connectivity than that. So you investigate, and through investigating and through being a critical thinker, you get to become a knower. I really feel like there is tremendous value in questioning, always. Question, question, question. Study, study, study. Look, 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 look. Dig, 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 dig. Makes me think of this old computer game, Dig Dug. Did any of y'all play that? That was a fun game. Back in the day. So my question this day to you is, are you a skeptic about anything at all? Are you skeptical about God? Are you skeptical about spirit? Are you skeptical about soul? Maybe it's time to study Joan of Arc. Maybe it's time to study near-death experiences. Maybe it's time to study reincarnation. Maybe it's time to study Zoroastrianism, Ifa, Baha'i. Maybe it's time, maybe you're an intelligent person that is a critical thinker, that as a child was handed a faith tradition that doesn't match your particular philosophy. But did you choose to just be skeptical about philosophy altogether because you were handed something that wasn't true to your being, and you're wise enough to know to not hold something that's not true to your being? I would say maybe it's time for some more investigating. Let's maybe investigate this topic. What I do know from near-death studies, which I've studied deeply because mostly I bury people down here, not a murderer, you guys, just people die around me all the time. But one of the things I can tell you I've come to understand is that, first of all, spirit is definitely a thing. I talk to the dead way too much. I've had way too many mystical experiences due to my openness to my beloved friend death, to deny the concept of spirit. But much of that came from near-death experiences, and what people experience when they die is usually what they believe. And that's why it might be important to not just be skeptical, but to actively participate in the choice you're making about your philosophy. Because if you didn't experience what you believe right after you die, you would have an immediate experience of cognitive dissonance. And that would be uncomfortable. What an uncomfortable way to enter the other worlds. Go to rarebirdmedicine.com, click on the classes link if you'd like to learn more about reading the tarot, or if you'd like to learn more about becoming a witch and learning new philosophies. Question yourself this day. Are you skeptical about anything, and is it working for you? Blessed be.